Good afternoon, Christopher Seaga. How are you, my brother? All right, let's try again. Christopher, how are you? Are you hearing me?
I'm hearing you.
Oh, yes. No, you're sounding strong and powerful. This is a man who's become my friend, and I must tell you, I don't know him. I've never met him, but it only shows the power of love and when we care for one another. My brother, I'm still hoping to get to meet you one of these days, you know.
So do I. I'm looking forward to meeting you, man. We've been talking for so long.
Can you imagine that? But let me tell you about this.
All this time, I mean, through everything that I've gone through, you've been helpful in every way. And I haven't really gotten a chance to meet you. We've been talking and going over things. And, you know, it's a pleasure still, you know, but the face-to-face is due.
It is due. And we're going to arrange that. And I have other things arranged for you, but it all depends upon what I can do with my limited resources.
Yes, sir.
But just to give my listeners a background, a lot of you know that it's my nature. I've been told I got it from my father. I don't have to have anything. I just believe in terms of giving service. Now, somebody brought, and I'm not going to go into details today because I want to talk about Christopher, about growing up today, but next week, we hope he can join us. And Christopher, my voice
We'll try to.
Just make sure you try hard.
All right, sir. All right. I hear you.
And my voice is giving me some problems so far. Yeah. Somebody sent me a story about Christopher. We're not going to get into that story today. Next week we'll probably talk about it. And I was very moved by that story. And I said to the person, listen, we have to make it public. We need support, moral support, and this will help you. And I must tell you, eventually I got everybody to agree, his family. Of course, I've known his mother for a very long time, and also his daddy, yes, for a very long time. And as a matter of fact, the last time he came on my program, I had to apologize to him because I used to impersonate him and make fun of him. When I reminded him, he said to me, Vernon, you made me famous. Can you imagine me making Christopher famous? He was so funny. And I posted that story, and in a matter of about 3 days, over 25,000 persons accessed that story. And I must tell you, Christopher, it is still the most popular post to date.
Wow, that's awesome, man. That's awesome.
And let me tell you about you. You have not been in the limelight as such, but let me tell you, people seem to have a love for you. I don't know why. People have called me, people who work in the hotel sector and other places. They have a love. I guess the person who you are. All right, today we're going to talk about you and learn about you today. We know you're Mr. Seaga's son and Mitzy Seaga's son. Tell us about growing up. Yeah. What was it like growing up? Your father is the Prime Minister. What was that?
Yeah, but I mean, you know...
Your mother was Miss. By the way, your mother was Miss Jamaica. Was Miss
Jamaica, right? Miss Jamaica too.
Yes.
So I mean, but you know, I can't really talk about when I'm a little more cognizant of what is going around.
Yes.
But he was, you know, from what I understand, in my early, you know, when he first adopted me and everything.
Yes.
It was like I was like the joy and the apple of his eye. I mean, it was just like, you know, really. You know, like a normal dad would be have a son, and it's like, you know, it's like a joy. But in growing up with him, you know, it's like people always see the serious side of him and thing. But I always got to see the part where he's laughing at certain jokes and he's even making certain jokes.
Yeah, right. I thought he's very humorous. Yes.
You know, but no, I mean, he was really somebody who guided my way of life even to this day. I mean, you know, trying to keep your name clean, so to speak. You know,
could I tell you something that he said?
You do things, and you know, integrity. When you say something, you do something. But
right.
You know, growing up with him, he was always, you know, swimming days. He was always there. You know,
before you go to that though, I must tell you something. A statement he made, which was very humorous, but because it's politics, it's not easy for it to go down as humorous. But I can't forget it when he said, "Jamaica was like a motor car running downhill. It is swinging to the right, it is swinging to the left, and it is totally out of control."
Oh boy!
You remember that one?
Yeah, but I remember hearing that one.
I haven't practiced it in a long time, so I don't know. Dead on
I
I
mean,
was.
trust me. I mean, I don't think people really got a real understanding of this man, my father.
Mm-hmm.
He was more concerned about Jamaica more than himself. I mean, it passed on through to all of us that we kind of like, we love Jamaica.
Yes, yes.
And, I love Jamaica too, but I mean, I can't really talk about what is happening now
Mm-hmm.
out of term, but I mean, what you asked me was something different. But I mean, just in reflecting to this is seeing what is happening in Jamaica today in terms of whether politics or just the overall country itself. I grew up around people. I mean, I met Bustamante and I met, there are all these different persons. I used to go to Parliament and meet Michael Manley. But they're all about the country.
Mm-hmm.
And, yes, he's here, but which side of the coin is coming from. They all talk about helping the country. But, the country is what I really learned about from my father. And, basically everything else is the country first. And, everything else to make the country better. And in what he has left as a legacy, I mean, all the things that he has done, everybody is not benefiting from things that he has put in place, whether the stock market or whether it is
Heart,
heart or whatever it is.
JCDC, yeah.
The stock exchange, whatever. But I mean, he was, he put things in place that Jamaicans can really feel like a first world country, and it was going that direction, and it still has a way to go.
Mm-hmm.
But no, but the man was a man of compassion. I mean, he was always caring. I mean, that's what I always saw. He was always trying to lift people up. I mean, my mother told me the other day of where I came from. I mean, I didn't understand where I came from until she explained. She said, "Chris, you're found on what is now Industrial Terrace, back a wall." And I mean, it has basically made me think about how I've had to survive through all I've survived through. It's like I've been a fighter all my life, because to be coming from that kind of environment at that time in 1966, to survive and be here still at 58 years old, is a testament in itself.
Yeah, man, you are a fighter of no mean order.
Everything, I mean, from what I've gone through in the last couple of years, basically with the kidney and everything, but I've never given up. I mean, even in my office at work when I work at TPD Canal, the people are there talking to me and say, "Boy, you're an inspiration to me, because when you're doing all your dialysis and all the things you're going through, you're still pushing on and pushing through, and nothing seems to stop you." I say, "Well, I can't really stop. It's not within me." And having a father like I had and my mother, the two of them are very, very driven. So it's not within me to not be driven. It's just coming like second nature.
Another thing that many of us would know, that you were involved in sports, and he was also a big sportsman. Tell me how he influenced your life and the things that you were involved in terms of sporting activities.
Well, the first one started with swimming, and that started by me when we were at Vale Royal. I think he was Minister of Finance and Planning at the time.
Right.
And I told my mother, I said, "Mommy, I want to go and swim." At that time, I had a lisp. And I said, "I want to go and swim." And Mommy said, "No, you can't go and swim. Wait until when your father comes home." I decided that I didn't want to wait, so I just went down and jumped in the pool and nearly drowned, and my mother had to come and save me. And from that, I went and joined Flying Fish Ambassadors with Neville Alexander. I used to go to his house up in John Blair to swim at his house, train just the basic swimming.
Yes.
And eventually Flying Fish Ambassadors was an age group champ at one time. I think it was 9-10 age group champ. Then I went and swam at the CCCN games in Damrep twice, in 72 and 77. Basically, and I went to boarding school, and I played sports at Campion and at St. Andrew's Prep.
But hold on, I think you also
in those days. But when I went to Canada, after second farm at Campion, I ended up playing American football, playing squash, basketball. I was a head captain of the cricket team in my senior year. Basically taught myself to play ice hockey, to skate and everything. I made the second best team in the league, in the school. And then transferred to University of Miami. I did a walk-on stint at University of Miami. That time, it was the time when all the big players of, the big name UM guys were there,
All right.
Alonzo Highsmith.
I'm
All
gonna
those
go for the
guys.
break and we'll talk some more about that. But I understand that you're involved in literally all the sporting activities. That is quite
Yeah, man. I
interesting.
mean, even shooting. I mean, bird shooting was something I did. I mean, skeet shooting. I mean, I did a little of everything.
All
But I
right, let me
mean,
just go
you
for
know
the break. When we
what?
come back, we talk more about that. All right, we're
Yeah,
speaking
man.
with Christopher Seaga, the son of the former Prime Minister of Jamaica, the Most Honorable Phillip George Seaga, and Mitzy Seaga. Fred and Darby saying to you, soon come back. Don't move. Welcome back. You're listening to Spot On with Vernon Darby. Yes, coming to you from Kingston, Jamaica, right here in the beautiful Caribbean, right? Yes, as them say, we're little, but we tallow. And my very special guest is Christopher Seaga. And he has been kept out of the limelight quite a bit, quite a bit out of the limelight. Let's go back to Christopher. Yes, Christopher, back with you. I'm looking at that picture with you and your sister. I think that's what touched a lot of people. I'm looking at the picture now. It is a beautiful picture. And I think somebody must have touched me, make me copy that headline. The love of a sister for her brother, Annabella Seaga, man cries for help. Oh, now that I'm looking at it, when I saw it, that I didn't realize how beautiful. That picture is a very beautiful picture. It will touch the heart of even a crocodile. And, no, man, very touching. Eh?
And bring the tears, man.
Yes, it does, and it shows about family. I was going to go into details, but you're the one who mentioned that you're adopted. No, and it tells you about adopting someone, caring for them. And I gather that you also in sports, you represented Jamaica. Can you imagine that? Am I right?
Yeah. I mean, even went as far as going to, I think it was in 1977.
Yes.
The Flying Fish Ambassadors went up to the UK to swim, and I thought I was Mark Spitz because I won 7 gold medals. I won all my races and the 2 relays. So I said, "Oh, I'm like Mark Spitz now. I won 7 gold medals."
Yes.
Not knowing everything 100%, but
Yes.
it was a treat of being. It gave me the ability to fly all over. And I mean, to fly to Santo Domingo was not like an Air Jamaica flight or Inter-Caribbean. It was basically JJ flying a twin otter from Kingston to Damrep.
Mm-hmm.
So, it was a time where it was a lot of fun. It was just an adventure, constant adventure.
So you have traveled quite a bit then.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, to England, to Santo Domingo, to the States, to living in Canada. I've been to work in Dominica for about a year, almost a year, to help open a hotel called Secret Bay. I mean, I just do different things. I went as far as traveling to the Philippines.
Really?
In 2010, and it was Philippines. When I went to Manila, I went to the city in the province of Visayas called Cebu, which is basically the so-called tourist area, and I went down to Mindanao, which is the bottom province where Zamboanga is. So it was interesting. It was really, the people are just like Jamaican people, very down to earth and very homely. They're just really. It was really a treat.
Now tell me about that experience, now being the son of the Prime Minister. And somehow, persons have said to me, Vernon, he seemed to have kept himself out of the limelight. Was that deliberate in that? We didn't want to expose you to, because politics can be rough and harsh. But when I put up that, yes.
It's just, it just happened that way because, first of all, when I was not only because of the elections in 80, but I think also because of my nature was a very rambunctious child, so to speak.
Yes.
So I was getting into arguments and stuff with people at school and, whatever. But they sent me to boarding school at the time, and that kind of calmed me down in a direction, trajectory, which is more straightforward and becoming a prefect and everything kind of stuff. So,
which schools you went to?
I went to Mona Prep first and got expelled for bomb threat.
What?
And then
you look back and laugh now.
I can't laugh now. I
Yeah.
mean, my father came to the school and told the principal, you're because of what? My child is what? You're a damn idiot, so to speak. And went to St. Andrews Prep after that.
Yeah.
And then from St. Andrews, I went to Campion. And then from Campion to St. Andrews College in Aurora, Ontario, until I went to University of Miami and eventually to University of South Carolina, where I graduated with a BSc in College of Applied Professional Science, which is hotel management and
Yes.
tourism
Yeah.
side.
But how
But
did people relate to you? Did they know that you were the son of the Prime Minister?
they,
How,
well, for instance, I know in Jamaica everybody knew because I went to school with a lot of other persons' parents who were also in politics as well. I mean, people like the Vazes and stuff like that, and people on the other side. Um, but at boarding school, I didn't know I was until graduation. When my father came up in '86 for the graduation,
which
and
boarding
realized
school is that? Which boarding
that's
school?
who I was.
Which boarding school?
So St. Andrews College.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they didn't know I went up there as, just as a normal kid from Jamaica. And
Yes.
then when I graduated in '86, when he came up for the graduation, and he was Prime Minister in that capacity, yes. That's when most everybody at the school realized that I was just not a normal Jamaican kid.
Yes.
But I've always been that kind of person where I don't really play up a position. Because my grandmother Constantine, said to me once, she said, Christopher, your father is a Prime Minister, but you need to keep your feet on the ground because he will not be in that place for the rest of his life. And those words have stuck with me to try and just stay down to earth, humble, just go with the flow.
Somebody contacted me from, I think he used to work in one of the hotels on the North Coast. And
which I used to work at Enchanted God.
Yes. That's the one that they mentioned. I don't know if it's Enchanted God.
It was originally Carrie News.
Yes, I know. But did you work at any other place on the North Coast?
I worked at Sandals.
That's the one.
I worked at Sandals. Sandals. Started up at Sandals in the Grill. Then went to Sandals Inn and Sandals Royal Caribbean.
Yeah, that's it.
And then, yeah.
And they said to me that
that's the last place I did.
One the person to be Vernon, I did not know that is Mr. Seaga's son. I know him named Seaga. And he said somebody pipped him off and tell him, and he said, nearly have a heart attack. I said, the man just cool and I'm just loving and caring. We can't believe it at all. So a number of people did contact me about your personality, which is pretty good, and which is something that we need to advise other people to do, to be humble, because you're only here for a certain time,
Yeah. I mean, the main thing I've learned from my father is that stay down to earth.
Yes.
And be down to earth and just be able to face people and don't try and push up yourself and be hyped up and just let people see you as a simple person. I mean, you have the sophistication which I do have, but I don't find it that I need to be showing that every minute of the day. I mean, in certain situations you switch up, but for the most part, I can remember back in 2017 Christmas time. I was working at a place called Meat Experts at the time, and had an accident in Treasure Beach. A man hit me right by Pedro Plains police station, and I had to figure my way back to Kingston. But I had no car for a long while. But what I had to do, I started to take JUTC bus, taking route taxi. Everybody's like going, "No, this man different." Because him just walk from supermarket to my house, and everybody's like, "No, this you're different." I said, "But you have to do what you have to do." And sometimes when you do these things, even when I was at doing my dialysis, I was not it was at University Hospital, so I was around the everyday person to understand what they were feeling, because I started to feel it too. I could hear what their complaints and the little.
There's another Prime Minister like that, Prime Minister Price of Belize. He was like that. If you heard about him. He used to just take his bus and walk around the place. Markets would be risky nowadays, I think, No,
it will be risky nowadays, but it's just, you just do what you have to do. If it's risky when you think that you can't go on the road, that means there's something that you have done to somebody, or you're doing something that is not 100% right. If you cannot go out on the road and be at ease with yourself, you must have done something to somebody for them to want to do something to you.
Besides, you have the crazy ones, though. I must tell you.
No, I tell people, I'd go on the road, and I used to work at Jamaica Brothers, and I used to work as a merchandising supervisor for the entire island.
Yes.
But I had to go on to certain things. But it's like, I just understood the little person to some extent and understand what it means to be acknowledged, what it needs to be. You try and build people up. That's all I'm trying to say. You build people up. You don't really try and keep them in a place to say, oh, you stay down here. That's where you're coming from. No. My father said it to me. He said, Chris, you came from there, but you're no longer from there. So in other words, you've grown. You have grown. You have become a different person. So everybody needs the same opportunity. I think everybody needs an opportunity, and that's what you try and do. Give everybody the opportunity to get to another level. Don't try and keep people down.
I love that. Don't try. But before we have to, we're going to have about 3 more minutes. But let me ask you now, we're going to hope you can join us next week and we'll talk about that fight. And we're going to encourage persons who have that challenge, diabetes and so on, and that let you know that, Chris, listen, that persons, when he needed that transplant, persons actually volunteered. I've asked him the details what happened eventually, but I probably don't need to get into that. But I was shocked to know that persons, and I want to say thanks to Desmond Allen from The Observer and all of those persons who came forward. But for you to have had over 25,000 views and literally quite a number of persons willing to help, it says a lot. That I was thinking about your father. I didn't know it because of your father, but you seem to have earned the love and the respect of Jamaicans. Now tell us now, because we're going to look at that next week, your challenge, your health challenges, how you fight it, and we are hoping that other persons, which includes myself, have been able to fight it and continue to live. And I must say it's a miracle that you're here, because I hope you don't mind me saying, sometimes I feel like a dopamine attack to me. I can't believe that you're still alive. It's just amazing. But you're a fighter. At what point did you realize that you have a challenge? At roughly what age? And
no, I found out I had diabetes on December 12, 1993. And when I found out that the failure of the kidneys at the time was in 2019, which was basically 3 days after Daddy passed on our birthday.
Yeah.
But it has been a challenge, and there are days where you're up and then days where you're down. I've never been a sickly child for the most part until diabetes.
So yours was quite aggressive, because for it to happen for you to lose your kidney.
Well, the doctors had said to me, they said for my kidneys to take 20 years to happen to get to that point. They said obviously I was eating well enough and doing things well enough, but it's just a progression of the diabetes.
Yes.
And plus because of the kind of work I was doing, I was under stress on a consistent basis, driving around the island doing best stress work.
Yes.
So I didn't really fully understand and comprehend the diabetes and the cortisol and the different whatever hormones.
I tell you what, we have to leave you now. But next week we talk about Christopher Seaga, the fighter, and we hope our listeners will tune in, because fighting, you can be born with it, but you can be motivated to be a fighter. And he doesn't realize it, but by meeting him, I've met him just on the phone and so on, he has helped me to continue the fight, because I say if him can't do it, I probably can't swim like him and do all them sports, but I can fight too. Christopher, it was great talking to you. You are definitely a wonderful person. And you'll be surprised the amount of persons who have contacted me, who know you and know me too. It's just amazing. I don't think I've passed on some of the messages to you. There's Mr. McGann, I think, who asked me to say hi, and he knows you from your child. You know him, right? You know who I'm talking?
Yes.
Right, and quite a number of other people, Dr. Vassal and so on. All right, take care, my brother. We talk next week, and we're going to talk about Christopher the fighter, and you're going to speak like you're the Prime Minister of fighting.
Well, I must tell you that I must have to light a candle, sing a song, and find my way back home.
Thank you very much, Christopher Seaga. You learn a little bit of the humor for your daddy, too.
yes, man. Yes,
take care, my brother. Christopher Seaga, son of the Most Honorable Edward Phillip George Seaga, former Prime Minister of Jamaica, who has passed on, and his mother is still alive. Yeah, Mitzy, and she's now Mian. Have I pronounced it correctly? Mian, right?
Yes, correct.
Take care, my brother. All the best. You have a wonderful day. You keep on fighting.
I will, and thank you for
continue being an inspiration to the rest of us.
Yeah, man. You take care now.
Take care, my brother.
All right. Bye-bye.
I'm Brother Darby. That was my guest, Christopher Seaga. So come back. Don't move.